Yo, what's up there, red and gold faithful? We're talking about a couple of things right now. First off and foremost, if you've been watching today's games, it's been absolutely catastrophic. Just a lot of shit going on there. Here on the East Coast, I had the pleasure of watching the New York Jets choke to the New England Patriots. The New York Jets season is absolutely kaput as we speak. In fact, tomorrow I wouldn't be surprised if they just start to find a way to really slowly dismantle the team. Although I don't think that's going to happen, especially not after the acquisition of Devontae Adams at wide receiver. Which brings me to our next issue about the trade deadline coming up. There's been a lot of talk back and forth. At this point, I think obviously if there's going to be any trades, it's going to be defensively. Hopefully to the defensive line. If some of you were watching today's games, you would have seen that two players that were in the talks of trades for the 49ers this week, Arden Key, ex-49er, and ex-49er, the great DeForest Buckner of the Indianapolis Colts, both had some decent games today. Arden Key had 2 sacks. I saw some of DeForest Buckner against who were the Colts playing today? Houston. He had a sack. I would really love to see them get, preferably, I would hope for DeForest Buckner, but maybe if we get lucky, they can do a deuce. I really doubt it's going to be in a wide receiver because at this point, if Deebo's good to go and Juwan Jennings comes back next week, Jacob Cowing continues to play, as does Chris Conley, I can't see us really going for a wide receiver. So it would be, I guess, rather pragmatic to go for a defensive tackle or a defensive end or a linebacker at this point. So I would love to see them go after someone like DeForest Buckner. I wouldn't mind Arden Key. I wouldn't mind Zadarius Smith. I wouldn't mind Jeffrey Simmons. Would be really nice. Harold Landry III on Tennessee, because in Tennessee, obviously, there's a fire sale. As this week they have lost DeAndre Hopkins, they have lost their linebacker, was it Ernest Jones, I believe, who came over from the Rams. So, I think if anything's going to happen, the day's coming before the trade deadline. I would really like to see a defensive tackle, although that's not a knock at Malik Collins. It's not a knock at Jordan Elliott. It sure shit isn't a knock at Kevin Givens, who we're missing tonight and who's had his best season. And it's not a knock, of course, at the great Javon Hargrave. But speaking of Hargrave, I saw some news that if they do make the playoffs, he would be back, which doesn't really help us right now, but it is something to think about down the line. But yeah, if there's going to be a trade, I'm wondering who it's going to be for. On the wide receiver front, I really can't see them making a move at this point at all. I think that's kind of a moot story at this point, unless someone's out there that they like, but I don't see it happening at this point. So hopefully they get a 2-for-1, maybe 2 defensive players, just to bolster that defense. Lynch has something up his sleeve, I'm sure. There's a lot of links between, obviously, them and DeForest Buckner. There's a lot of talk going that way, although that could mean absolutely nothing, or it could mean something. Who knows at this point, right? Let's just talk about the obvious. We have to win tonight. That's a friggin' obvious. At 3-4 in a division where Arizona has won 2 in a row, the Rams won Thursday night, and I don't know what Seattle's doing right now, but it's a competitive division, as we all felt it was going to be. Everybody automatically was ready to just kind of, including myself, put the Cardinals in the coffin for the season. But I'll tell you this much: the Cardinals have shown a lot of resilience, not just against us, but I think Jonathan Gannon has them playing at an all-time high with Connor, with Kyler Murray, with the rookie Harrison, with Michael Wilson. So it's you need every win you can get. They're getting their ass beat. Coda Bear 16, I like the name. Seahawks are getting their ass beat. Excellent, thank God. Yeah, I want to thank, who did Arizona beat today? I want to thank them for not helping us. That was really great of you. Miami. I really appreciate Miami. Thank you so much for not helping us. We really needed that. And I also want to thank the Vikings for not helping us on Thursday night. I fucking hate the Vikings. Now they're back to earth at 5-2. Fuck them. But let's talk about the fact that, tonight's game against the Cowboys, obviously, everybody, I've seen all these posts all week long about and it is true, the importance, the historic matchup of these two teams. But the funny thing is that both teams are missing key players. Obviously, Dallas is missing Micah Parsons. They're missing Bland. They're missing a couple other people. And obviously, we're without Juwan Jennings. Could possibly be without Deebo, although I think right now, if anyone else has any news, what I've seen so far is that he's slated to play. It's I'll put it to you this way: it's exciting, but it's not as exciting as it has been, because both teams are at a place where I think they're in a void. And obviously, not because I'm a Niner fan, but Dallas is definitely in a worse place because Dallas is an absolute horrible football team. I don't care what anybody says. Dallas is an overrated, never was, horrible football team with an $80 million overrated quarterback with no running game whatsoever, with a studded wide receiver, a decent tight end, an offensive line that's mediocre, and a defense that, for Micah Parsons, and is just okay. And they were obviously supposed to be better than that. I'm sure owner Jerry Jones feels different, but that's the way it is. And if we don't beat this team tonight, and we go 3-5, we are in serious trouble. And I think if we lose tonight, I hate to say this, but I think it possibly could be a wrap on the season because of the games coming up. Obviously, we've been 3-5 before. We've seen what has happened before, but yes, that was a different year and a different team. So while anything is possible, I'm just saying week to week, I would say that if we lose tonight, we're in some serious shit. I don't see it happening. I think we're the much better team. We're obviously much better than Dallas, but if we do our usual, not put the foot on the throat of the team, we're going to have some real trouble tonight. And you already know what's coming with Dallas. They can't run the ball at all. I don't care if Dalvin Cook plays. They can't run the ball whatsoever. Dak Prescott is who Dak Prescott is. He's going to throw that interception. He's overrated. CeeDee Lamb is their best weapon, right? On the defensive side of the ball, do they have DeMarcus Lawrence? Yeah. Is he still a threat the way he used to be? No. Other than that, I don't really know who they have coming at us that's a legit threat. But it's up to us, right? We have to execute plays. We have to hope that Shanny goes with the running game on the ground, pounding the ball left and right, letting the run set up the pass. None of these stupid, unrealistic plays that take forever to develop where, once they're executed, there's an offensive lineman downfield, illegal man, illegal shift, all that shit. No, let's just go back to old school, man. Let's go back to pounding the tackles with Garriendo going around the tackle with Jordan Mason, dumping it to Kittle. If Deebo's there, getting him involved, of course. Let's go back to basic. Let's not have to have Purdy run the ball. Let's not have to have Purdy make bad mistakes, forcing passes into 2 or 3 different players, not allowing Purdy to get hit where he threw those 2 interceptions last week. Last week's loss was just absolutely disgusting. I felt bad about the game from the second I turned it on. I'm not going to lie. I didn't have confidence. I don't know why. I just didn't have any confidence in me last week. And it was funny. As I was watching that, I was feeling bad about the fact that I just had a strange feeling, but I was being proven wrong as I was watching the game in real time. And, we did everything possible to allow the Kansas City Chiefs to beat us. But on the flip side of that, we did everything to beat them. We picked off Mahomes twice. We sacked him. We stopped them on 4th and 1 early on. I don't know what else you could have done, really. In the second half, it was just a totally different story. It was like we gave up. Or just, you lose Deebo. You lose Ayuk, right? Catastrophic knee injury, which was extremely ugly to watch. You stop running the ball. You get into patterns. And you get what you get. You get what you get, man. So also too in that game, we couldn't stop them on the goal line. The two touchdown runs by Kareem Hunt hurt us. There was some bullshit penalties. I thought there was some shit penalties there. Purdy throws 3 interceptions, 2 of those being his fault, where he was not being his fault where he was hit. There was some positives. Jacob Cowing had some nice catches. Ricky Pearsall got his first catch. So there was some positives, but obviously not enough. And we deserve to lose. There were 2 games this season I believe that we deserve to lose. Our record should be 5-2. We deserve to lose to the Vikings, and we deserve to lose to the Chiefs. Every other game was winnable. Every other game was within grasp. Well, we had grasp on it, and we let go. So it is what it is. But it was a shitty loss last week. I thought that we defended Mahomes in the first half the best that I've seen a lot of teams do it so far. But obviously that did not last. You got to play 4 quarters in this league. Why we weren't going more to Jusek through the air, I can't understand. Excuse me, why? Why we weren't using Gary Endo more? I don't know. I really don't know. Only Kyle Shanahan knows the answers to that question and the 49ers offense. But it was a terrible loss. Another good thing, my hat off to the offensive line. They held Chris Jones in check. Can't say they didn't. Held him in check. But it was Purdy's worst game by far. I think everyone can agree to that. 3 interceptions is just not going to get you great game status. But we deserve to lose. We didn't have an answer for them. And I don't think it was the defense totally. I don't think it was the defense at all. I think the defense did what they had to do. Our special team sucks. That's obvious. We can all agree on that. Our special team blows. It has blown all season long. And it's an issue. It's become an issue. Are injuries a huge part of everything? Sure. But I don't believe they're everything. I think there's a little bit of everybody that was a letdown last week. From Purdy to some of Shanahan's play calling to the defensive front for not stopping the 2 touchdowns on the ground of Kareem Hunt. A lot. There's a lot there. I can't blame the defense really, 100%. I thought the defense at times looked pretty good. Like I said, you pick Mahomes, you sack him, you stop him on 4th down in the first quarter when they went for the fake punt there, whatever. You stopped him. He had everything on. Deebosamuel picks him off. We had everything going in our direction. Malik Mustafa gets a big hit. My hat off to that kid. He sustained a legit, solid hit from Patrick Mahomes, and while I'm sure it was somewhat embarrassing for him, it's part of the game, and I give him a lot of respect for just sitting out there with a smile saying, hey, man, he got me. That's a lot of respect, man. I think that kid's got so much upside. He's a hitting machine. I think he's just getting better. I think him and Jair Brown are coming into their own. And I think Lenore has become, you have to put him in the legit. He's just coming into that reign of the legit of cornerbacks. He had a great pick last week. I thought that had totally changed the game around, but what a loss, man. It really sucks when you don't have not that I didn't have expectations, but you're a little shaky on what do you think is going to happen, and then that happens. Especially after you do everything you can to stop Mahomes, who has not. Look at his stats. He has not had his best season this year. But I digress back to the fact that we have to win tonight, It's imperative. Looking at last week's game, which is really painful for me. Another loss at home, which really sucks for us, right? 28-18 to the Chiefs, who remain undefeated. Kareem Hunt had those 2 early touchdown runs, making it 14-3. Once again, we could not get 7. We're having trouble within the red zone. When you don't get 7, it's a problem. We cut it to 14-6 at the end of the half. Come out at the end of the beginning of the second half, looked pretty good. Purdy scrambles for the touchdown. Anders Carlson misses the extra point. And then from there, it was kind of downhill, right? Kansas City, Mahomes, 1-yard run, 21-12. Kansas City, Mecole Hardman, who always finds a way to kill us, 18-yard run, 28-12. And at this point, I had turned off the game. I admit it. Brockpurdy got in with a 1-yard run. I did not even watch the 8-play 65-yard drive down the field. Sorry, I was disgusted. I was not going to sit through that shit anymore. It was extremely ugly loss. But that's the reality of it. That's the hardcore reality of losing to the Kansas City Chiefs. What did the great Bill Parcells say? You are what your record says you are? Well, yeah. Looking at some of the stats from last week's game, Purdy 17-31, 212, 3 interceptions, only sacked once, thank God, but the 3 interceptions were just, I know one of them, his hand got tipped, but he didn't look right at all. Jordan Mason, 14 carries, 58 yards. Again, averaging 4.1 yards per carry. I don't know why they stopped. Throwing the ball. What's up, K. Grisall? What's happening to our Niners? At this point, I don't want to say much. I want to see what happens tonight, and then I can make a proper assumption of what I think is happening to them. I think obviously right now it's a case of injuries being extremely high. It's a case of not finishing a game the way you start it, much like a fight. If you ever watch a boxing match or an MMA match, there's a strategy for one fighter to another that's working through the first 8 rounds, and then somewhere along the 9th and 10th round, they change strategies and things don't work out well. That's how I feel about the 49ers with the running game. They start off well, sometimes come out pounding the ball down teams' throats, and looks like, that's all she wrote because the run sets up the pass, but I don't know what it is. It looks like it's an abandonment at times to either catch up or play relevance. I don't know. On the term of rushing, Jordan Mason at 58 yards for 14 carries was on his way and stopped running the ball. I don't know what happened. Why we still don't use Kyle Juszczyk more offensively, I'll never understand. I wish someone had an answer for that, but I don't think any of us really do. Kittle, another great game, 6 catches, 92 yards. Why the game plan wasn't revolved more around getting him the ball, I don't know. Jacob Cowing, the rookie, 2 catches, 50 yards. Thank God he's looking like a player. Brandon Ayuk, 2 catches, 23 yards. He's out for the season, tearing his MCL and ACL. I hope for him for a quick recovery. I'm sure he's had surgery on that already. Usually they don't let that wait. Ricky Pearsall, the rookie, much awaited rookie, 3 catches, 21 yards. Hopefully we see a lot more of him, and just thank God that he's okay and he's healthy. Other than that, it wasn't much going on with the passing game. This Noah Gray killed us. A backup tight end killed us last week, which is just, I couldn't understand why he was wide open. 4 catches, 66 yards. He had that long 26-yard in the middle of the field, wide open. We just don't match up well with this team. It's so weird. It's so weird, man. Defensively, Malik Mustafa led the way with 12 tackles. Fredwarner had 8. We did get a sack from Leonard Floyd, a half a sack from Malik Collins, a half a sack from nickbosa. Again, I think that the defense played pretty good. The defensive front 4 didn't do too bad. And we got that nice pick from Diamador Lenore, and we got that interception from Kalia Davis, the tip pass, who looks like he's coming into his own, going to be a player. And then on the offensive side of the ball, who kills us? Other than Noah Gray, Travis Kelce only had 17 yards. Again, we beat ourselves, man. We beat ourselves. We gave them every option to beat us. Defensively, for the Chiefs, they only had 1 sack. They did have 3 interceptions. That hurt. Justin Reed, Christian Rowland, and Jaden Hicks. Christian Roland Wallace. 3 interceptions from the defensive backfield. One of those, Purdy was hit. He did have some time under duress last Sunday. And then what I thought was interesting was the game stats. I always find that if you read the game stats and you don't know the score of a game, it's obviously misleading, because if you were to just go by purely team stats, you would have thought that, well, I don't even need to know the score because it looks like we kind of, sometimes a team dominates. But in this case, I thought it was interesting. Obviously, when it comes to first downs, they had 22 to our 19, nothing crazy. Third down efficiency was absolutely terrible. We were 2 for 11, which says a lot. They were 8 of 14. Great teams convert, for sure. Third and fourth down, that's what they do. They're 68 to our 56 in total plays. They're 329 to our 310. We had more yards per play than they did, but then again, we've had that a lot of times this season. It doesn't really seem to matter. Our 209 passing yards today, 145. Running the ball was a whole different story. They had 184 yards on the ground. We had 101. They did that between how many guys? Mecole Hardman, Xavier Worthy, Patrick Mahomes, Carson Steele, and Kareem Hunt. So how does the saying go? When we keep teams under 100 yards, we usually win. Well, there's your answer. Yards per rush was their 4.7 or our 4.2. Penalties was our 6 for 40 to their 4 for 48. Great teams don't make penalties. And time of possession, they're 35 minutes to 24. So they deserve to beat us, man. They were a better team than we were last week. The second half especially. It's old news now. You sit on it for a week and you kind of just shake your head. You feel terrible, as I did all week long. Can't understand where this team is at. It's the same team basically that was on the field last year, and you can't understand what's going on. So what do? You got to win. You got to win. It's one of the more easiest sports when it comes to how do you turn things around. You win. You win. You got 17 games, not 180, not 162, not 82. So winning is a lot more. I don't want to say it's more important in one sport than the other, but put it this way, you're giving less opportunities to win. We got to win the game. You got to win tonight. You got to beat the Cowboys, plain simple. It's a perfect team to beat. It's a perfect time to start, to get back on the winning horse. I mean, they're a terrible football team. I don't think they're that good of a football team. They got massacred by Detroit. They're extremely overrated, despite maybe, obviously CeeDee Lamb, obviously Micah Parsons there without tonight, but they're a beatable team. There's no reason why we shouldn't blow them out, but it depends on what Niner team comes out. Look, tell you the truth, I just want to see a win tonight. I don't care how we do it. I don't care how it gets done. We need a W. That's about it. It's about all I got, because this team has really infuriated me this year so far, to be fair. I can't figure it out. I feel like it's an equation that I just can't figure out, as I'm sure a lot of you do. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with the trade deadline. Let's see what happens with when and if we go after somebody. Hopefully it's somebody high profile. We know that John Lynch always has the ability to surprise, as he did with Christian McCaffrey. So let's keep our fingers crossed. Let's beat these bastards tonight. Let's beat this shit squad of a cowgirl team. And, hopefully something happens good in the trade deadline, all right? I will be coming back at you guys with some more content. I'm 3 hours ahead of you, so enjoy the rest of your day. And got to knock off the cowgirls tonight, man, or it's not going to be a happy Monday, all right? Later.